Strongman is a sport that's renowned for featuring giant athletes such as 6'9" Hafthor Julius Bjornsson and Ted van der Para, who stood an impressive 7 feet tall. While there are certainly strongman events that are better suited to taller athletes, it hasn't stopped many average height strongmen from competing at the highest level of the sport. Today we're going to look at 30 of the shortest athletes to compete at the World's Strongest Man, and let's start with the shortest winner of the competition, the UK's very own Gary Taylor. Gary Taylor won the World's Strongest Man back in 1993 and stands at 183 centimetres tall. Gary was an incredible all-round strength athlete who also excelled in Olympic weightlifting, bodybuilding and powerlifting. He was renowned for his static strength and pressing power, and never let the fact that he was one of the shorter competitors stand between him and his goals of becoming the World's Strongest Man. Now let's take a look at some strongmen under 6 foot that have competed at the World's Strongest Man, starting with the 5'11" club. George Friend competed in the first ever World's Strongest Man competition back in 1977, but unfortunately placed last overall. The former champion hammer thrower weighed less than 250 pounds and would have almost been light enough to compete in the under 105s, a weight category that wasn't introduced until 30 years later. John Gamble was the IPF World Powerlifting Champion in the 125 kilo weight category back in 1982. He competed at the World's Strongest Man in 1982 and 1983, and his highest placing was third at the 1982 competition, where he lost out only to the strongman legend Bill Kazmaier and Canada's awesome Tom McGee. Fan favourite Rick Grizzly Brown was a monster of a man and always fun to watch. The former wrestler and powerlifter competed in the World's Strongest Man back in 1985 and 1986, with his highest placing being the 1985 competition, where he came 6th. British strength athlete Adrian Smith was trained by the strongman legend Jeff Capes. The 3-time winner of the UK Strongest Man competed at World's Strongest Man just once back in 1990, where he took 5th place. Bill Pittock competed at the World's Strongest Man 3 times back in the mid-90s, but was unable to qualify out of the group stages. However, he enjoyed much greater success on the British strongman scene, where he won Britain's Strongest Man twice, the UK Strongest Man once, and the British Muscle Power in both 1993 and 1995. Lithuanian strongman Vidas Blekaitis came second to Zydrunas at Lithuania's Strongest Man an incredible 7 times. While he didn't have the best showing at Worlds in the 2 years that he competed there, he did place 4th at the 2006 IFSA World Championships and took 4th again at the 2009 Arnold Strongman Classic. Vidas is an incredible strength athlete, probably best known for his performances in the log lift and the super yoke. Jason Bergman was an American strongman who made the finals of World's Strongest Man both times he competed there, in 2008 and 2010. His highest placing was in 2008, where he took 9th place, and he also placed 2nd at America's Strongest Man in 2008. 6-time South Africa's Strongest Man Etienne Schmidt competed at the World's Strongest Man in 2009 and 2010, but was unable to qualify out of the group stages after being unlucky enough to land in some pretty stacked groups. He had better success at other international competitions, twice making the podium at IFSA Grand Prix and coming 2nd at the 2011 Strongman Champions League held in South Africa. Paul Purjol is one of the youngest athletes ever to make it to the World's Strongest Man, a feat he managed aged just 20 years old. Paul was 3 times Romania's Strongest Man, but unfortunately he was unable to qualify out of his World's Strongest Man group when he appeared there in 2011. Ákos Nagy was a junior weightlifting world champion back in 1997. The Hungarian strength athlete enjoyed a good career in the sport and won a Giants Live competition held in Hungary back in 2012. Ákos competed at World's Strongest Man a total of 3 times, but like many others wasn't able to qualify from the group stages, proving once again just how tough it is to place as one of the top 10 strongmen in the world. British strongman Paul Smith competed at the World's Strongest Man in 2018 when he was just 24 years old. While he didn't qualify from his group, Paul did win the Ultimate Strongman Junior World Championships in 2017 and won England's Strongest Man in 2016 and again in 2020. Jimmy Paquette is the training partner of World's Strongest Man regular JF Caron. He's competed at the World's Strongest Man just once so far, back in 2017, but was unable to qualify from his group. However, considering his group included Thor Bjornsson and Martins Lissis, qualifying was never going to be easy for any athlete during their World's Strongest Man debut. Nigerian bodyguard Olu Fadesaya competed at World's Strongest Man just the one time back in 2017. Olu said that he wanted to use the opportunity to learn from the other athletes, and after being placed in a group with World's Strongest Man veterans Zydrunas Savickas, Terry Hollands and Nick Best, in terms of competing experience, he couldn't have asked for a better group. Danis Zagaris has competed twice at the World's Strongest Man in 2013 and again in 2015. He narrowly missed out on qualifying for the final in 2015, where he was actually leading the group but placed last in the Atlas Stones, which were worth double points that year. Danis has won and podiumed at several Strongman Champions League shows throughout his strongman career. John Cole was an Olympic weightlifter, powerlifter and strongman. He competed at the first ever World's Strongest Man back in 1977 and took 6th place. John was at one time known as the strongest man in the world for holding the greatest combined powerlifting and weightlifting supertotal of all time. USA's Doyle Kennedy was a world champion powerlifter, having won the IPF World Championships in the 110 kilo weight class in 1978 and 1980. He also broke the world record in the deadlift back in 1986, deadlifting an impressive 903 pounds in a suit but without wrist straps. Doyle competed in the 1983 World's Strongest Man contest and placed 7th overall. Jarek Dymek is one of Poland's most successful strongmen, having won Poland's Strongest Man 3 times and Europe's Strongest Man in 2005. Jarek regularly teamed up with Mariusz Pudzianowski for the World's Strongest Team, a competition they won together 3 times. Jarek competed at the World's Strongest Man a total of 8 times, with his highest placing being 4th at the 2005 competition. Jimmy Marcoux was a 3 times winner of England's Strongest Man and also won both Britain's and UK's Strongest Man in the mid to late noughties. Jimmy competed at the World's Strongest Man 3 times, but was never able to qualify from the group stages. He came very close in 2007, missing the qualifying spot by just half a point. Graham Hicks used to compete as an under 105 athlete until around 2012, where he concentrated solely on the Opens. Since then, Graham has gone on to win the 2019 Britain's Strongest Man in what was arguably one of the toughest eras ever in British Strongman, and is one of the best log lifters of all time, with a mammoth 220 kilo log press which he lifted at Europe's Strongest Man in 2020. Graham has also competed in powerlifting's Big Dogs competition, coming away with a massive raw total of 1,100 kilograms. He has competed at the World's Strongest Man 5 times, but so far has been unable to make it out of the group stages. It's been a few years since we've seen Graham at Worlds, and he's come on a long way as an athlete since then. I've no doubt the best is yet to come. Bulgarian strongman Dimitar Savatinov has competed at the World's Strongest Man a total of 3 times, with his highest placing being 7th in 2015. Dimitar enjoyed a successful run at the Arnold's during his career, placing 4th in Ohio in 2015 and taking 4th twice at the Arnold's European show in 2017 and again in 2018. He's won America's Strongest Man twice, beating Robert Oberst for the title in 2014 and the current World's Strongest Man Martin Lissis in 2015. Rob Kearney, who's quite famously known as the World's Strongest Gay, is the American log lift record holder and winner of the 2019 Arnold Strongman Australia. In a land of giants, Rob is currently one of the smallest strongmen on the pro circuit, and his work ethics and mental toughness is almost unrivaled. Rob has competed at the World's Strongest Man 3 times and hasn't yet been able to qualify for the final, but he's still young and I have no doubt we're going to see more great things from Rob in the future. Marius Lalas is the younger brother of strongman great Vitalij Lalas, and the pair won the Ultimate Strongman World Team Championships together in 2018. Marius has competed at the Worlds just 1 time so far, in 2018, where he placed 3rd in his group. Standing at the same height as Marius is his big brother Vitalij. The Lithuanian star has had an incredibly successful career at the top level of the sport, winning the Arnold Strongman Classic in 2013, numerous Champions League shows and placing 2nd at Europe's Strongest Man twice. Lalas competed at the World's Strongest Man 4 times and nearly won the show in 2012, but had to settle for 2nd place overall after dropping points in the competition's final event, the Power Stairs. Warwick Brandt moved into strength sports when he was forced to retire from rugby after suffering a nasty injury, breaking his neck. Warwick competed at the World's Strongest Man twice and made the final in 2014, placing 8th out of 12 competitors. Jerry Blackwell appeared at the 1979 World's Strongest Man competition, but his strongman career was short-lived as he was forced to withdraw early in the competition due to an injury. Jerry was better known for his wrestling career, where he went by the ring name Crusher. During his career, he went up against many wrestling legends, including Andre the Giant and Hulk Hogan. Joseph Bernardsky was another wrestler who dabbled in the world of strongman and was better known by his ring name Ivan Putski. Ivan is a former WWF World Tag Team Champion, and he competed at the World's Strongest Man in 1978, placing 8th out of 10 competitors. The Pocket Rocket, England's very own Darren Sadler, is better known these days as being co-owner of Giants Live. Darren enjoyed a successful career in strongman and was the winner of the IFSA Under 105 World Championships in 2005. Darren competed at the World's Strongest Man a total of 4 times and came 3rd in his group in 2009, losing out only to former World's Strongest Man winners Mariusz Pudzianowski and Phil Pfister. Bodybuilding legend and former Mr. Olympia Franco Columbo competed at the very first World's Strongest Man in 1977, where he placed 5th overall. Franco did exceptionally well in the bar bending and wrist rolling event, and at just 85 kilograms body weight is still to this day the lightest man to have competed with the heavyweights at the World's Strongest Man. The shortest athlete to ever compete at the World's Strongest Man so far is Andrew Rains. Andrew, who was affectionately referred to as Stumpy, was a champion bodybuilder and powerlifter who only competed at Worlds the 1 time back in 2001. There he qualified out of the group stages and placed 10th overall. That same year, Andrew placed 2nd at England's Strongest Man, and in a career highlight for him, won the 2001 IFSA Grand Prix held in Portugal. Every one of these athletes proves that you don't need to be a giant to compete at the highest level of the sport. Remember, size isn't everything, and if you're willing to put the hard work in, you could be the next Stumpy. While you're here guys, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my awesome strength content.